The trial of the Ashanti Regional Chairman of the NPP, Bernard Nkwibuesiako, is set to begin on Tuesday, October 7, 2025. This follows his appearance before the CID on Monday, October 6, in compliance with the directive from the Attorney General and Minister for Justice, Dr. Dominic Ayeni. Dr. Ayeni had early on Friday, October 3, cautioned that the NPP Regional Chairman would be arrested if he failed to report to the CID, stressing that the charges against him had already been approved.
The charges against Chairman Wontumi, Akonta Mining, and 5 others have been signed as I speak. His lawyers asked that he should be brought on Tuesday, but I'm insisting that he should be here on Monday. If he doesn't come on Monday, I'm going to order for his arrest.
Lawyer for Chairman Wontumi, Andy Apiakubi, has described the Attorney General's comments about his client as distasteful.
It is incorrect to anybody to suggest that we have been lukewarm to the invitations from the Director General's office. I know that the Director General works for the Attorney General in terms of prosecution. So I consider the discourse between my good self or my office and the Director General's office as equally, by extension, to the Attorney General's office. But I want to express my disappointment in the warning that the refusal to defer the meeting. The warning was that it should Chairman Wontumi fail to appear, he will order the arrest of Chairman Wontumi brought to a trial. Indeed, we don't need to unnecessarily increase the political temperature in the country, and we have responded to all invitations, all.
Speaking after the engagement with the CID, Andy Apiakubi commended the professionalism of the police service and said his team was fully prepared for Tuesday's court appearance.
Let us also congratulate the police system for being so professional in the discharge of their responsibility. We also take this opportunity to congratulate the Attorney General who has facilitated all this. I will see you in court tomorrow. We are not supposed to prove innocence. Our job is to allow prosecution to finish, and then we will come in with our response. Could be submission of no case, could be a defense to the allegations.
Chairman Wontumi is facing charges linked to alleged illegal mining activities involving Akonta Mining Limited, a company reportedly associated with him. Now, away from that, tension may be brewing between Ghana's executive and the legislature as the indefinite postponement of Parliament resumption raises eyebrows. This comes after the Speaker of Parliament, Alban Gbagbeng, indefinitely suspended the resumption of the legislative arm of government, Parliament. Now, there are growing concerns that the impasse could disrupt the timely passage of the 2026 budget and other crucial bills before Parliament rises for Christmas. Observers warn that if the budget is not approved before the holiday break, government spending could grind to a halt, potentially plunging the country into a fiscal crisis similar to the currently facing the United States. The Executive Director of the African Center for Parliamentary Affairs, Dr. Rashid Dramani, says that silence from leadership in explaining the delay reflects possible friction between the two arms of government, particularly with the Speaker, Alban Gbagbeng, coming from the opposition, the NDC.
It's very interesting. I believe if it was the 8th Parliament, perhaps we would have heard from the leadership of Parliament clearly why this is happening. But, understanding the nature of this Parliament, where the Speaker of Parliament is from the stock of the NDC, perhaps there are a number of things that the Right Honourable Speaker doesn't want to put in the public domain. And whatever it is, I think it smells like there is some friction between the executive and the legislature. And this needs to be dealt with as quickly as possible. Otherwise, and then we have to also remember, this is not a president who has the luxury of time because he doesn't have a second term. This is a government that is already 1 year old. So they need to move and move very, very fast. And earlier they treat the legislature with a lot of care. I think the better it is going to be for the business of our country. And they don't have in this particular meeting, they don't have the luxury of any extra days, because by Christmas, everything has to come to an end. So that is where, there's even a more serious problem. Because, in other meetings, you could shift, increase the number of days and so on. But this one, by Christmas, everything has to come to a close.
The voice of Dr. Rashid Draman there. Now, away from that, chieftaincy disputes that have simmered since pre-independence are escalating into deadly violence as armed, masked gangs increasingly use sophisticated weapons, putting civilians and law enforcement at risk. Experts warn that the problem isn't just gun possession, but the ruthlessness of the weapons, and are calling for tougher punitive actions against perpetrators to stop people taking the law into their own hands. Security analyst Richard Kumado says police must act decisively to punish offenders and restore order before the violence spirals further.
It has been an issue with us for many years. Pre-independence, we've had chieftaincy issues. After independence, we never thought we were going to travel with issues of chieftaincy dispute for a very long time. But in recent times, because of sophistication of guns and people having the ability to mass up their crews, in the least instance, it has come to the fore that this is a canker that is threatening the lives of everybody, and it's even not sparing the people who are in charge of law enforcement. So that is an unfortunate situation, and that is where we find ourselves. It's not just the possession of the firearms, which is a major concern for all of us, but it's the usage. They are so bold in using it, and they bear the consequences.
The voice of security analyst Richard Kumado there, ending the morning news on 3FM 92.7. There's more news on our website, 3news.com. I'm Noble Crosby Annan, and I'll be back shortly with business news. Stay with us.
Three FM.
Sunrise on 3FM, the best in the morning.
Hello again and welcome to the business segment in Sunrise on 3FM 92.7. I'm Noble Crosby Annan. Coming up this morning, Chamber of Oil Marketing Companies demand probe into suspicious sales amid fuel sector crisis, and Food and Beverages Association of Ghana urging efficiency first in Electricity Company of Ghana asks President Mahama to halt unconditional ECG tariff hikes for 2025 to 2030. Plus, Nuclear Power Ghana rejects Russian floating reactor proposal. We have details of these stories and a lot more coming to you shortly. Stay with us. Welcome to the program. Let's start off the morning from here. The Chamber of Oil Marketing Companies is calling for the scrapping of the Unified Petroleum Pricing Fund, UPPF, citing suspected abuse of the system by some of its members. Now, globally, fuel prices vary depending on the distance between depots and retail outlets. However, Ghana maintains uniform prices nationwide through the UPPF, a mechanism designed to ensure equitable distribution by incorporating actual transport costs into retail prices and facilitating consistent delivery across all regions. Speaking at a press briefing in Accra, COMAC Board Chairman Gabriel Kumi said the fund has outlived its purpose, alleging that certain companies are declaring unusually high sales volumes to take undue advantage of the system.
Yes, we are saying the UPPF has outlived its usefulness. It has to be scrapped. we need to take it off. Because now UPPF is charging almost 1 cedi. If it takes it off, we have almost 1 cedi off your pump price. And let nobody deceive you that competition, what people are going to charge high price because they travel on a longer distance. Anybody who does that, the keen competition we are experiencing in the sector will kick you out.
That was the board chairman of the Chamber of Oil Marketing Companies, Koma Gabriel Kumi, speaking there. Now, the Food and Beverages Association of Ghana is urging President John Dramani Mahama to halt any unconditional approval of the Electricity Company of Ghana's proposed tariff increases for the 2025 to 2030 period. The association plans to petition the president in the coming days, and the core message is clear: efficiency before tariffs.
The Food and Beverages Association of Ghana, FABAG, argues that raising utility prices without first addressing ECG's crippling internal inefficiencies amounts to forcing Ghanaians to subsidize waste, theft, and corruption. At a media briefing, Chairman of FABAG, Reverend John Awuni, noted the petition will highlight alarming performance indicators that it claims undermine the case for a tariff hike. FABAG emphasizes that only strong presidential leadership can overcome the entrenched vested interests that profit from electricity theft and corruption, citing successful utility reform models in countries like Uganda and India.
How can tariff ever solve their problems? But no matter the amount of tariffs that is put on it, that is increased, it will continue to be like we are pouring water in a basket. That basket will never get full. And that is what has happened over the years.
President of the Ghana Union of Traders Association, GUTA, Joseph Obeng, in a solidarity message noted that high electricity tariffs are making Ghanaian businesses uncompetitive.
How can we say we want to industrialize and we don't know the effects of high cost of utilities, especially the electricity cost? ECD needs a serious reforms because we think that we pay economic price already. What is eating up is the inefficiency and corruptible practices of ECD. It's as simple as that.
President of the Ghana Plastic Manufacturers Association, Ebo Botri, expressed worry that many companies plan to relocate to neighboring countries where tariffs are lower.
If government is talking about come next year is going to escalate the utilities to hundreds, then definitely we'll have to probably relocate to Burkina or Togo or Cote d'Ivoire, produce and then ship to Ghana.
And that was a report put together by the Three Business Desk on this subject. Let's bring you some more stories this morning, but away from that, Nuclear Power Ghana has expressed concern over government's plans to deploy Russia's floating nuclear power technology as a temporary solution to the country's growing energy demand, while it awaits the construction of its first nuclear power plant. The organization says such a move is not in Ghana's long-term interest, arguing it risks turning the country into a mere consumer of nuclear-generated power rather than developing local expertise and value chains.
Russia's Rosatom is in talks with Ghana to deploy 2 or 3 floating nuclear power units, each generating up to 100 megawatts as a temporary measure to address the country's power shortfalls. The arrangement would allow Ghana to purchase electricity directly without heavy upfront investment while integrating the power into the national grid.
We need to have certain basic infrastructure in terms of managing the daily generation of waste. That is very important. What are the liability issues? Because basically you are looking at a market to sell electricity, and nuclear has its own liability issues. So what are those issues? So there are various things that is unknown and it has never been addressed. We don't know very little information about this floating reactor. All that we hear is that, hey, all that you need is a power purchase agreement. That is not the concept of this nuclear agenda.
The Executive Director of Nuclear Power Ghana, Dr. Stephen Yamwa, stressed that nuclear power is not a quick fix solution and urged government to remain focused on establishing a local nuclear plant to build domestic capacity and develop the full value chain.
Going through a real nuclear project is significant in terms of the issue of supply chain. So you can build your industries to really be part of the project. Issue of institutional establishment, making sure that you have a robust institutions to really sustain a nuclear power project. Issues of the human capacity, and then in all of this is also to position Ghana as a technology hub.
That was the Executive Director of Nuclear Power Ghana, Dr. Stephen Yamwa there. And now, Ghana's infrastructure quality ranks significantly below its economic peers, scoring just 47 out of 100, 10 points lower than the average for lower middle-income countries. Deputy Minister for Finance, Thomas Nyakwampim, has revealed, and there's more in this report put together by the 3 News Business Desk.
The Deputy Minister noted that Ghana currently invests only 5.0% of its GDP in infrastructure, below the lower middle-income countries' average of 5.4%. This gap results in a crucial financing deficit of 2.8% of GDP, far exceeding the 1.7% average among peer nations. Deputy Finance Minister Thomas Nyakwampim noted these figures confirms what citizens feel daily, citing public demand for better transport, reliable energy, irrigation for farmers, and digital connectivity. To tackle this challenge is government's Big Push initiative, backed by a $10 billion plan to finance large-scale infrastructure projects. The initiative reallocates significant portions of petroleum revenues and mineral royalties. 13.9 billion cedis is expected to be invested into the policy, with projections to increase this amount to 21.2 billion cedis by 2028. The planned investment is expected to increase capital expenditure by 0.5% of GDP over the period, even as the government maintains its fiscal consolidation efforts.
Before we go this morning, let's take a look at how the cedi is faring against other major trading currencies and some key commodities also on the global stock market.
On the interbank foreign exchange markets, the dollar is selling at 12 cedis 55 pesos. It lost a peso. The British pound is selling at 16 cedis 92 pesos. It also lost a peso. The euro is selling at 14 cedis 70 pesos. It lost 5 pesos. However, be guided that these figures could be higher at the Forex Bureau near you. On the global commodities markets, Brent crude is trading at $65.55 per barrel, up by $1. Gold is trading at $3,958.66 per ounce, up by $72. Cocoa is trading at $6,283 per ton, up by $93.
That's it for the business news on Sunrise on 3FM 92.7. There's more news on our website, 3news.com. I'm Noble Crosby Annan. Sunrise continues after this. Have a great morning.